Hi everyone, welcome back to another video tutorial. Today we are deep diving into AWS CLI, the command line interface that will make you feel like a cloud wizard. By the end of this tutorial, you will be learning how to manage your AWS resources directly from your terminal like a pro. And trust me, if you master using CLI command, you will not feel like touching the AWS console again. You can do everything from the CLI itself without touching the AWS web console. So let's start the video. First, let us learn how we can install AWS CLI. For installing, just do a simple Google search for AWS CLI and you'll get the official link for Amazon Web Service. Click on install or update. From here, you need to select your operating system. Depending upon your operating system, you need to open the tab. Here I'm using Windows. I can directly download the installer application or I can run this command to install. If you are using Linux, depending upon your operating system, if you are using Linux and your architecture is x86, you should be following these commands and it will install. If your hardware is ARM, in that case you should be running these commands. If you are using Ubuntu instance, then you can simply install AWS CLI using Snap Package Manager. And also similar for macOS, you can just download the package and install it. It will install AWS CLI. Let's download the installer. After the download is complete, open it and click on next. I agree, next, next, and install. Now our CLI has been installed. Click on finish to verify whether our AWS CLI is installed properly or not. You can open command prompt. From here, just search AWS minus minus version and it's giving the AWS version. It means that AWS is correctly installed inside your operating system. Now we need to configure our account. For this, we will be creating a new IAM user and only allowing some specific resources to it. Here inside our IAM users, we'll create one more user. Let's name it as test user. We are not going to provide console access, so we'll keep this unchecked. From here, we'll be only allowing some policies so that the user can access very specific resources. First, we'll allow EC2 full access, then we'll allow IAM access, full access, and then S3 full access. So we are going to be allowing this tree access so that the user can access EC2, S3, and also IAM. Now let's create the user. So here we need to create the access key. We'll be using it for command line interface, that's CLI. Click I understand and then click on next. Here just click on create access key. So this is our access key. Here we need to just type AWS configure. Here we need to give our access key. Just copy it from here and paste it here, and also our secret key and paste it here. And next we can just press enter and enter, and now we have configured. First, let us know what's the default region of our AWS CLI by running this AWS configure get region command, and it's showing AP South 1 is our region that we have selected. And now let's try to use AWS STS get caller identity. Now you can see that it's showing that the user is test user. So this was our first command by which we can know that which user we are logged in. Now with CLI, we have control over all the AWS console, but not using the GUI, but inside our command line interface. Now let's learn some AWS CLI commands. Like first we are going to be learning some commands for using Amazon S3. First, let's learn how we can create a new S3 bucket. For creating new S3 bucket, you'll use the command AWS S3 MB. This means make bucket, and then we need to just provide the URI. We can name anything like CLI tutorial test bucket, just adding 2025 to make it more unique. Just click on enter and it just created a new bucket. Now we can list all our bucket because this user has access to all of our S3. So we can just use AWS S3 ls. Now it just list all our buckets, and it also has the latest bucket that we created today. As you can see, the date and the name of the bucket. If we use the console and search for that similar bucket, you'll find that we also have this bucket and it's in AP South 1. Now let's learn how we can transfer file from our local machine to our S3 bucket using AWS CLI. For this, we'll be using AWS S3 CP command. This is the copy command. Now we need to provide the file name, and then we need to just write the bucket name. And if we specify any folders like images and click on enter, in that case, it will upload the file inside that images folder. Currently, if you check, we don't have any files. If we try to refresh, you'll find that we have an images folder, and inside images we have wallpaper.jpg. To list this, we can also use AWS S3 ls command, and then we need to just specify the bucket slash images, and it just lists the file. If we check the bucket, in that case you will find that we have one images folder and a document.png. What can we do to download this document.png file inside our local machine? In that case also, we'll be using AWS S3 CP command, but this time we need to specify our S3 URL. That will be this one, S3 slash bucket name, and then our image file name, document.png, and then we can just click on give some space and click on dot. Give some space and click on dot. It means that it will download the file inside this folder. Now it just downloaded our document.png inside document.png downloads folder. So this is how our S3 upload and download command work. Now inside our AWS, we have an instance that is top. The name of the instance is test machine, and it also have an instance ID. Let's try to read that data from our command line interface. For that, we'll be running this command AWS EC2 describe instances. Like here we are getting all the data like it's an x86 architecture. Here we have the instance profile, reservation ID, and much more. We are getting to know all the data. Here, what we are going to be do, here we are going to be copying the instance ID, that is this. And we want to start the instance. For that, we'll be running the command AWS EC2 start instances, and then we'll just add the instance ID and click on enter. It will start the instance. Now it's showing that it's starting the instance and current state is pending. If we try to check on console and refresh, you'll find that it's now running. Now the same thing, if we want to stop the instance, we'll just call the stop instances function and pass the instance ID. It just stopped the instance. Now if we try to refresh, you'll find that instance is now in stopping state. We can control everything from our command line interface. No console access is required. We can also run other commands like creating security group. Like we can run this kind of command AWS EC2 create security group dash dash minus minus group minus name, and then my web servers, and pass a description. Click on enter, and it just created a new security group. If we try to check inside our security groups, currently it does not have any inbound rule, but it has all traffic outbound IP rule. Here let's add SSH rule. For this, we'll be running this command AWS EC2 authorize dash security dash group ingress dash dash group name my web server and then the protocol TCP and the port number. We are allowing it for anywhere IP. For that reason, we are passing 0.0.0/0. Let's click on enter. Here we are just passing group ingress. It means that it's an inbound rule. If we try to now load the rule, you'll find that we have just added an SSH rule that allows access to our port 22 from IP anywhere. In this way, we just control our AWS services from our command line interface. We have allowed this user to have the full IAM access role. For that reason, this user can create new IAM users. Let's try. Here, if we type AWS IAM create user, username John, developer, it just create a new user. And now let's also add some policy for power access user. You will just run AWS IAM, attach user policy, then the username, policy ARN, and the policy that is power user policy. If we check power user policy, it mainly allows to get account information, primary email, list region, create service linked role, delete service linked role, list IAM roles, and the organization effective policy and describe organization. So this is inside Power User Access. Now, if we click on enter, this policy has been attached to our John developer user. For connecting this John developer account, we need to create some access keys. So for this, we can just call AWS create access key username John developer and click on enter. And here we get our access key ID and also our secret access key. Now, if we just configure this account using our CLI, we can also connect. So in this way, CLI is very helpful to us. So as a security tip, always follow the principle of least privilege. Don't give full admin access unless it's absolutely necessary. Now you know the essential AWS CLI commands that will make you 10x more productive. These are the key practices. Don't just watch, actually try them. In the description, I have list all the commands that I had covered and links to AWS documentation and some AWS CLI cheat sheet I had also mentioned in the description. If you like the video, then make sure to like it and subscribe for next upcoming AWS tutorial. So that's all, and thanks for watching.